Hello, I'm Sandy Walden, your Master Grief Coach and Master Grief Coach trainer and creator of the Grief Healing Course. There's a term I've been hearing more and more. I'm hearing it mostly in the grief world, but I'm also seeing it on social media and other places. And I'll be honest, it causes me concern. And I'd like to know what you think about it, how you feel about it. I keep hearing toxic positivity. And when I have conversation with people, because if you know me, you know I believe that more conversation is much more helpful than less. And generally, my understanding is that this phrase, this term, this label, if you will, is being applied to people when they are relentlessly suggesting we look on the bright side. It's not so bad. I get that. Man, that hurts, doesn't it? At the same time, I'd like to expand this conversation and wonder, what if we do something different? Here's my worry. Here's my concern and my feeling. When we label something toxic, it tends to, in my view, shut down all conversation about that subject. A few years ago, I was hearing an awful lot about toxic masculinity. That concerned me as the mom of 3 boys and the wife of a very masculine man. It was as though we were stamping certain people and they were told to sit down and shut up. That's how it felt to me. I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm saying it's how it felt to me. When I hear the phrase toxic positivity, I feel much the same way. Now, I've talked before that I am someone who's basically wired to be what some people may consider relentlessly optimistic. That's what I think about myself. Maybe I am the Tigger of the world. And I would like to be appreciated and respected as much as the Eeyores of the world. Yes, we are doing better understanding that it's okay for people to be sad. It's okay for people to be profoundly sad, to be broken, to be hurt, and to express that. Oh my gosh, it's so important that we make it safe for people to do that. My concern is that we're saying it's only okay to be sad or to be broken, that it's not okay to be positive. It's not okay to feel slightly better. Now, when I think about the way I've heard people I really respect use this phrase, toxic positivity, what comes to mind for me is that the people they are talking about are completely stomping all over their boundaries. For instance, if someone would tell me that they are experiencing profound sadness, that they're feeling broken, that they're feeling scared, worried, it would be not only inappropriate but unkind of me to keep saying, no, you're really fine. I think you're going to be okay. I think this and I know that and you're all these things. Wow, that would be stomping all over them, wouldn't it? It would be crossing all their boundaries and not respecting what they are telling us. Can we find a different way to explore these things? Can we respectfully not label or stamp something, but say, it's just not how I feel. Please. I understand this is your opinion. These are your thoughts. They're not mine. It's hurtful when you say that to me, so please don't. And if they continue, it's all right to drop the please and say, stop, that hurts. And if that's not enough, then walk away. Walk away. To me, the way to handle this, my thoughts, is to ask one another to respect how we feel, what we think, what we're experiencing, without making them wrong for experiencing what they are. And I admit, in fact, I completely own, I come to this from a sensitivity of the other direction. In so many places, in so many ways, I was told for a very long time, pretty loud and clear, that I did not hurt enough. That because I was not curled into a ball, I had no business speaking about grief because others were. I don't want to say I was shamed. I think people tried to shame me. Certainly they shut me up and chased me out of places. And so I think about my experience compared to theirs, and I wonder if the term had been going around then, if they would have labeled me as toxic. And what it was is that the conversation wasn't open to have many experiences. My concern, my worry is that when we label something, we shut it down. When I tell someone you are toxic, that's poisonous, isn't it? Don't we know not to touch poison? Don't we know to lock it away, keep it safe from us? Might it be more productive instead to say, this is not good for me, stop. You have your point of view, you have your experiences, they are different than mine. Can we respect one another without having to say one size fits all? This experience will feel this way for all of us. My response is to hold a place of respect and appreciation for those who tell me that an experience feels toxic to them. I want to find a way to make them safe. But I want to find a way to make them safe without hurting someone else. It doesn't mean that I won't close the door on the person or the experience that's hurtful. Sometimes I will. It might be not now. It might be this is inappropriate. It might just be this is not okay. But I'd really like to hear from you. How do you see us making these conversations not only safe but productive? Understanding the person grieving often has very little energy for pushing back. And I understand that. So how can we give one another the right support and perhaps the language to use? And so, for instance, when somebody says, oh my gosh, I know you'll be okay because you're really strong. And I bet almost everybody here has had that experience at some point when we're not feeling strong at all. When we're feeling like we're a little surprised that our body keeps breathing itself. And as we often say, we do keep going, not necessarily because we're strong, because we don't have a choice. Our heart keeps beating. Our lungs are breathing our body. It turns out that physically we're operational to some extent. Understanding that the person who is being what somebody might call toxically positive is doing it because it's what they believe is the right thing to do. They don't know better. And here's another point of this that maybe hasn't been talked about. I don't know. As I said, I'm certain in certain circles that I would be considered way too positive. Like I said, I've had that experience, and man, it's been painful when I've been in many ways told to sit down and shut up. How is that helpful? How is that helpful? If we're taking our steps and doing our best to make grief something that we address in gentle, supportive ways, How is it helpful to say only if you feel like this? And I had a thought there, but it went away, so I apologize. So many times it was very clear that I was not welcome to share how I felt, because maybe I'd had a good experience with my husband or my surviving sons, or I was feeling good that day. And that was not allowed in some places. Only those who were suffering. And that added to my pain. How can we make it okay for everyone to feel what they feel and be supported? Not shamed. Not shamed. I have a real problem with labels. You know that. At the same time, I'm not at all interested in shutting down somebody who offers a label or a stamp. I would like to know why they feel that's appropriate and how it serves them. How does it feel to label something that way? Because it's probably good for them and they wouldn't be doing it, right? I'm not interested in shutting down anyone who says that something is toxic for them. I'm interested in having more conversation. And I'd like to know how we can change those situations where someone is experiencing something that they're calling toxic positivity. How can we shift that conversation so it is beneficial for them? And so that the people saying these things can learn too. Is it okay for them to have their own experience without inflicting it on us? Is it okay for us to have our experience without it inflicting on them? Again, how can we respect one another and own that we all have varying levels of emotions and thoughts and abilities and speech, and we don't always know the right thing to say? And here's the truth. Even though I'm so far down this road of grieving, it's been, at the time of this recording, 12 and a half years since my son died, there are absolutely things that I say that somebody else finds objectionable. And that's because we have different experiences and different points of view. It doesn't make me wrong. It also does not make them wrong. When we create the opportunity to say, that really hurts, can I tell you why? Then we create the opportunity to learn. For the one who's hurt someone, probably unintentionally, to apologize, and for relationships to be healed. Often those really honest, uncomfortable conversations can lead to much stronger relationships where we know that we can trust one another and we do better together. Okay, I've been on here a lot longer than I intended, but I'd really like to know, what do you feel about this, and what do you feel might be productive when you consider the phrase toxic positivity, or any other phrase or label, if you will, that you see or hear? Do you find it beneficial? Do you find it painful? Is it a nothing burger for you? All thoughts are welcome. I wish you a day of gentle peace and healing, and know how much I appreciate you. Namaste.